Okay guys, I am so excited about this video about Spartanburg, South Carolina. Why am I so excited? Because we get to talk to two of the coolest people. First, we are going to go meet my friend Yasmin here at the Chapman Cultural Center in downtown Spartanburg. And then we are going to go meet Ricky. Ricky is running for County Council for District 1 Spartanburg. And then at the end of the video, we are going to answer your #1 question that I get every week from you in the comments, or you email me, or you call me about Spartanburg. So first, we're gonna go talk to my friend Yasmin, and Yasmin is gonna show us around the Cultural Center.
This is the upstairs area where we have some of our Youth Art Month work all over the walls.
Oh wow, these are amazing.
Right, and they're all from different local schools. We even have some homeschool kids. We even have artwork from the deaf and blind school. And I know that a lot of the local colleges, they'll try to have their students engage with them with their education program. At the Chapman Cultural Center, we're doing a lot of work to engage Spartanburg and showcase the arts across mediums. Okay. So whether it's dance, whether it's even science, because it's creative thinking, our job is to make sure that we give them professional development and the resources they need in order to pursue their dreams locally, And my role is as the community grants and outreach manager, I'm really in charge of making those grants and trying to give artists money. My other coworkers, they're a part of the fundraising, so they're trying to make sure we get people that invest into those, resources and making those opportunities happen.
So for somebody who is searching the upstate, and if you've come across the channel, you're probably here because somebody researched Greenville,
right?
And then they ended up going, oh, what's this place called Spartanburg? Mm-hmm. So what's your favorite thing about Spartanburg in general that people need to know about?
There's so much history, and a lot of people appreciate and honor that, but are also always working towards something. And they're not afraid to work with new voices and young people to make that happen. Because the fact that I'm in this position as a young person after graduating, it's amazing. And they really want to focus on retainment and investing into the people that are going to be the future of Spartanburg.
Absolutely. So Spartanburg is growing. Yeah. It is becoming a spot that you do not want to sleep on because it's right here at the beginning. It's really it's taking off. As far as the growth goes, what would you tell somebody that is looking at the area? Why should they move here?
There was a really great speech that happened at the film symposium this past year in the Marriott down the street. And the writer, she was explaining that there's something in the water here in South Carolina. It's the fact that so many people started here and then they dispersed all throughout the country, and it kind of just keeps coming back to South Carolina. Yeah. And I feel the upstate is a huge part in that history, because there's a lot of different moments where you'll meet people who have generations and generations here, but everyone's always doing something different. Yeah. And there's always that community building factor that is just very unique, because although it's small, there's power in that, because there's such a short distance between people that they get closer. Yeah. So I would say that that's the reason why someone should move to Spartanburg if they're interested in, those interpersonal relationships, making something for themselves and becoming a part of that history, because they're the future,
So if you stuck with me this long and you're okay, this is resonating, Aubree, let's go ahead and keep talking about it. Hit the subscribe button for me. Make sure that you pay attention, because we post videos every Sunday and every Thursday through a live stream at 8 o'clock that I think would be really beneficial to you. Reach out to the team already. Let's go ahead and let's make those calls, because we're gonna be able to help you and hopefully save you a whole lot of time.
You know so much about Spartanburg, so give us a little bit of history from somebody who lives here.
Right. So Spartanburg actually has a really deep history within its like context, but also just like in general like contributions and things.
Okay.
One of the bigger contributions, like why we see Hub City Market, why we see Hub City Farms, is because Spartanburg was known as the hub city with all of the textile manufacturing and the amount of trains that would come in.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of train tracks that are active today. We just kind of held on to that name as the hub city.
Okay.
And then another nickname for Spartanburg is Sparkle City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple different places, so why Sparkle City?
Right. So it's known as Sparkle City because there was a band called Joe Bennett and the Sparkle Tones.
Okay.
Right. And they were like a rockabilly band, and they peaked like in the Billboard hits and all that stuff. And people were like, "Oh, the Sparkle Tones from Sparkle City."
Okay.
So the Chapman Cultural Center, we actually are like leaning more into like the music scene around here with our Battle of the Bands competition.
Hold up. There's a Battle of the Bands.
Yes. So we have Battle of the Bands coming up in 2025. And the whole point of the competition is not only like are we going to like generate a lot of like promotion and exposure to these local artists and like, you know, bands and everything, we also give them the opportunity to have some studio time. Like whoever wins, they get a cash prize, and then there's studio time for them to record a single.
I know that there's a lot of other things that the Cultural Center does for music. What else does it do?
So we also have the Spartanburg Downtown Cultural District.
Okay.
And we're actually kicking off our busker season like this April. And the whole point of the busker season is we hire about like 8 artists, like, you know, live art performances as well as musicians to perform within our cultural district.
Okay.
And the cultural district is like 4 square blocks starting at Barnett Park. And these buskers, they'll perform out there just to show off their craft and like their work, and they get to keep all the tips that they, you know, make from that performance.
There's a lot of other arts that are centered here within the cultural district. What are some other things that Chapman Cultural Center brings to Spartanburg, maybe that's outside of just music?
Right. So the Chapman Cultural Center, we're a very interesting like spot because we do a lot of project management, we do project consulting, we work with other cities, not only just Spartanburg. Like we're working with Inman right now, helping them consult with like their murals. So we do a lot of like behind the scenes work, but also we do a lot of plugging in, as I like to call it. So we plug in a lot of local artists and try to plug in communities into art. And sometimes it's not just like concretely art, because one of our partners is the Science Center on campus. We have ballet on our campus, the Spartanburg Ballet Corporation. We have rehearsal space for that, but then we also have the Spartanburg Youth Theater and Spartanburg Little Theater.
You mentioned earlier about murals. So I know that when I look up Spartanburg, that's some of the first pictures that show up is the Spartanburg murals. Tell me a little bit about those.
I'm just gonna give you like a highlight reel of some of my personal favorite murals. So there's one on West Main Street on the side of Starbucks, and that was actually funded, but we received a grant from the Mary Black Foundation, and we wanted to make a mural that really destigmatized mental health within communities of color. So we hired an artist, and they made this amazing mural that captures like a bunch of different people with different backgrounds to bring awareness to like mental health and you know, under-resourced communities. And then the other mural that's like a big favorite of mine is the Hope mural, and that was dedicated to the Spartanburg residents.
All right, so where is the Hope mural?
So the Hope mural is actually on Dunbar Street, across from the bus headquarters. But if you're interested in like seeing more of our mural projects and all the different stuff that we've made, we have all that information on the Chapman Cultural Center website.
So another thing that is really big about Spartanburg is all of the colleges that are out here, colleges, universities. Tell me a little bit about that, because I know you're pretty passionate about one in particular.
Oh yeah, go T-Dogs. T-Dogs is short for Terriers from Wofford College. That's my alma mater. And Wofford College, it's like a fairly small private liberal arts college. And yeah, there's like a large focus on like STEM and pre-law, but they also have a great art department and wonderful film and digital media department.
That's so cool. What other universities and colleges are in the area?
Right. So there's Converse University, and that recently became co-ed because initially it was an all-women's school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. And they have a great, master's program, and that's really kicking up. So there's a lot of new folks coming into town for that. But then there's also USC Upstate. It's just like another branch of University of South Carolina.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you have more options than just going to Columbia at USC,
Gotcha. Lastly, tell me, for those that are wanting to learn about Spartanburg, and maybe they are thinking, maybe that's where I want to live. What's the one thing that you would want to tell them about Spartanburg?
So the one thing I would tell people about Spartanburg is that there's a lot of things blossoming here. And to be a part of that is a very special experience. So even if you're here for part of your journey, that's a journey well spent. So I would tell them to come down to downtown Spartanburg and check out our cultural district, support some local artists, and enjoy our local businesses, and visit the Chapman Cultural Center, because we're always open to new people and new voices.
All right, so we are standing downtown Spartanburg along the Main Street area, and there's actually a barbecue festival going on this weekend called the Hog City Festival. So music, barbecue, everything's awesome. And I'm here with my friend, Ricky Field. So Ricky is running for a county council chair for District 1 Spartanburg. Why are you running for this chair?
So I'm running for this chair because I want to bridge the gap between the community and local politics. So a lot of people don't understand how local politics works, the regulations, the laws, and things that go into place.
Yeah.
I also would like to bridge a gap between people under 40 and local politics. A lot of us watch CNN and the news and social media, and we see what goes on in DC, but we don't see what goes on right here in our community.
For somebody that is looking at Spartanburg as an option, what is something that they need to know about Spartanburg?
We have the best food options in the state.
That is my love language.
It is a mixture of everything. You have so many cultures here. It's very diverse that you can really feel like you're traveling the world just by going down Main Street and eating at different local restaurants.
Yeah. That kind of leads me to another question is, what are you passionate about for Spartanburg, or what's something you want to see change?
So I'm very passionate about affordable housing, and one thing I want to see change is how our taxes work, how our regulations work with land.
How do they currently work?
So right now you're limited. There are certain places you can't put tiny homes. There are certain places you can't put modular homes. There are certain places you can't put mobile homes. And I think that should change, because that's how we create affordable housing for the people that are already here.
The mobile home communities, I know in Spartanburg specifically, are kind of grandfathered in right now.
Right.
But I totally get that coming from a real estate perspective of having that more affordable option for people. As far as the projects that are coming up in Spartanburg, what are you most excited about?
I'm excited about the baseball stadium. It makes me want to be into baseball because I'm right here at it. So typically I would have to go to Atlanta or Charlotte to see a baseball game.
I mean, you could come down to Greenville to see Fleer Field, the Greenville Drive.
But being right at home, where I can just go to a game, enjoy downtown, I think that's one of the things I'm happy to see come to the city.
You've stuck with me this long. There is a number one question that I get from anybody that is thinking about the upstate and about Spartanburg. So I do a search about Spartanburg and the crime rate comes up. What am I going to tell somebody that says Spartanburg has a really high crime rate and I'm not going to move there? Tell me more about that.
So I always tell people to visit. One thing about Spartanburg, it's a very large county, and you have to break down the crime rate. A lot of times when we Google things, we don't break down the numbers of what kind of crime rate, right?
Okay.
So it's not violent crime, it's property crime. I think that's one of the things that we should look at. And the more people you see move here, that's how numbers work, right? More people, more crime, but it doesn't necessarily mean that when you walk outside your house, you're going to hear gunshots. Right.
Unsafe
place. I've lived here majority of my life, and I've never felt unsafe in Spartanburg. I've visited all over the United States, and I can tell you, I feel safe right at home.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying we're at a point where you should leave your doors unlocked and leave your windows down.
Yeah,
but we're not at a point where you're going to walk outside your brand new house and hear gunshots, right?
And I mean, we were talking earlier, and that crime rate is pulled from a county statistic. So Spartanburg County actually has a North Carolina line.
You could have a bar fight that's in the middle of the county, that's on the outskirts of the county.
Like Campobello.
Campobello,
Yeah.
Landrum. You can have things that go on in these areas. If 911 is called,
Yeah.
it's reported to a statistic. So it doesn't necessarily mean their body was there or a physical assault. It could be just cops were called out.
Okay, gotcha. So it's not necessarily like Spartanburg City.
Correct.
Because Spartanburg County is so huge.
Huge.
And so a lot of things go into that.
Yep.
If this helped you, make sure you subscribe, obviously, and reach out to the team. Like, send us an email or go through our website. Give us a call or a text. We would love to help you out.